Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Global Digital Success Talk. So today we're gonna be talking about a topic, and our topic for today is what can you advise for your to your younger self? Okay, but before we jump into that, so let's start introducing ourselves. So hi, everyone. My name is Sandy. I'm originally from Panama. I reside in Surrey, British Columbia, Canada. I work in the movie industry, and I'm a digital business owner. Melissa?
Hello, everybody. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening from wherever part of the world you could be tuning in. My name is Melissa. I'm originally from Kenya, that is in Africa. At this moment, I'm residing in Mexico. I'm a full-time digital business owner, but prior to that, I used to work in the hospitality industry.
Thank you, Melissa. Isabel?
Hello everyone, my name is Isabel. I'm originally from Mexico. I live in United States. I work for the school system as a teacher assistant, and I also have my digital business. I'm married, I have 3 kids, and I'm here enjoying my Sunday with you guys.
Okay. So we would just want to remind you that we have live webinars every Tuesday and every Thursday, 5 p.m. PST, 8 p.m. EST. So if you want to catch up the replay from our this past Thursday, here are the hosts and the panelists for that day.
Yes, so from our last webinar, which was on Thursday, we had our host, and her name is Rebecca. We had Mai, who is a health admin assistant, Tina, a registered nurse, Alma, also a registered nurse.
Okay, and the rest of our panelists, Maida is the OR nurse, Abesco, a former public school teacher, and Joyce, a full-time mom, and Jonathan, a registered nurse. So this was our live webinar last Thursday. Remember, if you want to catch the live webinar, it's every Tuesday and Thursday, 5 p.m. PST and 8 p.m. EST.
Thank you, Melissa. Thank you, Isabel. Okay, so let's start with our topic. So, our topic today is like we say, what can you advise to your younger self? One of the points that we come into agreement is overcome our fears. Okay, and I think this is one that we tend to like. Well, for example, I tend to if I had fear, like I wouldn't go forward. I think I've been a person not too risky, more like how can I can't remember the word, but I'm playing it safe, no, not trying to take risk, and I think to be able to overcome your fears, you have to jump out to the water, and that's something that as my younger self, I wasn't doing. I was always, trying to play safe, and I wasn't, like try to see the opportunities. One of the things, like I I think in order to overcome your fears, you have to work on those fears, whatever the case is. For example, one of my fears is, like I know how to swim, but I have the fear of going into deep water. And I think that's because, I think it's probably like a trauma that I had when I was a little girl, that my sister fell into a hole in a river. And then after that, I'm afraid to go into the deep water. Um, but I think in order for me to overcome that, I have to go into the water. So I started to take swimming lessons as an adult. It's kind of like um, embarrassed, but it's the truth. Um, and I overcome it a little bit, but I think like fears, it doesn't go away if you don't keep practicing. You know,
Mhm.
so why I say that is because I took swimming lessons and I was overcoming my fear. But then I stopped going to practicing swimming lessons, and then one time I went out with my friend, um, to another swimming pool, and she loves to swim. Like, she's into swimming a lot. And then when I went to the swimming pool, I realized that, I had that fear again, but because I didn't practice. And it's not because I cannot swim in deep water, because I can swim. And the reason why I tell you that is because, for example, I went to my brother's place, and they had a swimming pool, and my nephew, they had like a little mask that you can put your face under the water, and then it's fine. So with that mask, I can go into the deep water because I cannot relax. But if I remove the mask and you tell me to go into the deep water, I wouldn't go. And so it's all here. It's all here. It's the mindset. um Another, but even though, like, I have fear of the water, the deep water, I love the water. So another experience that I had, and this is, like, overcome my fears, doing something that is extreme, and that you're afraid. I did river rafting with my sister for the first time, and I don't know how to swim, and that's scary. So we were there, we were so excited, we paid and registered, and then when we got to the point of doing the river rafting and we saw the water and how scary it was, we are like, oh no, I don't know if we can do this because we don't know how to swim. And then we want to try to go, like, stepping out from doing it, but then they say, no, but sorry, we cannot refund you because you already paid for it. But it's okay, don't worry about it. We teach you, how what you're supposed to do and all that. So, well, we say, okay, fine, we don't have any choice. We pay for this. We are here, because it was a long drive together. So we went, we took the training, and then we went into the ride, and it was exciting. It was I found that, like, it was too short, so when it ended I was like, oh my god, I want more. So that's one, just to tell you, like, if you don't try, you don't know.
Yeah.
So you have to overcome your fears and just do it. um so yeah, that I'll let the other girls talk about.
Should I go next?
Sure.
Okay. I can totally understand with you. I think for me, growing up as a young girl, I was also a very shy girl. And I had a lot of transitions when I was growing up. I grew a little bit in a small town. Then my mom moved me to the village, and then and I think moving from a very small town and now going to the village, I really had to sort of change myself, and I became extremely a shy girl. So, and that put me at a place where I think even transitioning and coming to the city and having opportunities where I could try out things, I just wanted to, just be there. And I feel if I had overcome my fears and I believed in myself, because I remember when I moved now to a bigger city, I was very enthusiastic as a young girl, and I remember every Sunday there was a newspaper. It used to be called like a Daily Nation, and they used to have a section where young children would write articles. And one day, out of nowhere, I wrote an article, like a small section, like maybe a paragraph or two paragraphs about things that are happening, growing up, as interesting things, kid stuff. And so it used to be like a competition. So a lot of kids will write these articles, and then one that they will feel is good, best, it will appear in the next newspaper. So I did that, and voila, the next week, I was so happy to see my name on the newspaper. I remember keeping that newspaper until my teenagehood. I don't know where it disappeared. But then, thinking of that, I'm like, and then why did I stop doing what I could have probably developed? And I think for me, I developed, probably a lot of fear because, as you know, at that time you're a teenager, and you thinking like other people are kind of better than you, you know, and maybe they are speaking, their confidence is good, and I just lost track on that. And I remember even when I was just sharing with Sandy, when I wanted to choose my subjects in terms of career now after finishing high school, I was so confused. I remember I just wanted to do something with media, but eventually I ended up not doing that because I really didn't know what to do. I felt like I was not really good enough, and I had a lot of fear within me. So anyway, it's never too late. So, you know, even as you're just sharing here, you know, these are things that we are reminding ourselves, and you know, there are things that are still workable, and we can still, you know, achieve those goals and continue overcoming our fears. You know, even with this business, what we do, you know, being here is one of the major things of, you know, overcoming your fear and doing what you really want to do. Yeah, so I think that's what I can talk about, overcoming my fear. Yeah.
Well, for me, I grew up with very, very low self-esteem. I remember growing up as a child, I was never asked for my opinion. I was always told what to do, and I
Mhm.
couldn't really say anything. I couldn't say no, I don't like it, I don't want it. It was just whatever. And that really hurt me in a way where I was very insecure. I was very insecure, throughout my teenage years because I felt like I had no value in me, because nobody ever asked for anything from me, like as far as if it was okay or if it wasn't okay. But I remember when we came to the States, I was 12, and we didn't go to school very long. But the very first semester that we were here, we were sent to school, and I didn't know the language, and that was a lot for me because I was already insecure to begin with. But when we went to our classes, the teacher was asking each kid to read, and even though I didn't speak the language, for some reason I knew how to read. Like I read the book that she gave me, and she was very surprised that I could read. There was like a couple of words that I didn't pronounce correctly. But then after class, she came to me and she told me, like, you have a lot of potential because even though you don't know the language, you can read, and that's great that you can do that. So just she gave me a book and she said, practice every day, read, and then you're going to get better, and that's how you're going to learn the language even more, by reading, because you already know the hardest part. So that to me really meant a lot, for somebody to tell me that I could do something and that I had potential. I was like, wow, I was never told that. So ever since I started reading and I knew that I was capable of doing things I didn't think I could do, and
Mhm.
she gave me the confidence I needed, I think, to face what was coming in life. And so that's my take on that.
Thank you. Okay, so let's go to the next one. So work on my mindset. So yeah, to I would say to my younger self, work on your mindset. And the reason why I say that is because as a younger person, and when you're going through your new life, because you go from being a teenager to enter the adulthood, right? Many times you're not prepared for your encounter, especially if you have one of the points that we're going to talk later, this mentality that it's like when we are kids, like Isabel was saying, we were programmed a certain way, and because that program, when we face our adulthood, if we were not someone, like there's some kids that are a little bit rebellious, so they do their things. I wasn't like that, you know so I was always trying to follow that pattern that I was taught. And when I face some challenges along my journey, for me was like devastated, because I never experienced something like that. So I think if you start working on your mindset since you're like little girl, like if you start teaching them
Mhm.
that, they will become resilient and they won't see those setbacks, as something, like failure or end of the world, you will be able to see, a different way. Okay, yes, fine, didn't work, but you know what? I gotta move on and do and try to go see if this way works. Um, so that's one of the things that I would say, like work on mindset. For those who are hearing this, if you have little kids, work the mindset with your little kids because that will help them to build that self confidence, which is another point that we're gonna talk later. Yeah, who wants to go?
Uh, yeah, mindset is the key thing, but I think for myself, even in my younger self, I even didn't know what mindset was. It's something I've come to learn in my older age, probably in my 30s. But when I was young, really maybe in my 20s, it's not something I was familiar with, even to be familiar with the word mindset. And why I'm saying that is because, the way I had been programmed is like, I needed to go to school, get educated, and look for the job. So actually, even when I was in high school, you are just aiming to pass that final exam. And I just remember, experiences where I know maybe some people did not perform well in their final exam, and it was so devastating for them, and they felt like that is the end of the world for them. But now looking back, thinking it was just an exam. That didn't mean like it was the end of your life. It
Mhm.
was the end of your life. And it's all about the mindset when I'm thinking about it. And even as you shared, like, for those who still have, young children probably, or maybe young adults, and they're still probably figuring out on their career what they want to do. Just having an open mind to experiment and know what you really love, what is your passion. Like, you're not just stuck in one thing. Probably you studied for one specific thing and you're thinking that is what I need to do for the rest of your life. As we keep saying, life is a learning journey. So you never know, as you start that job, then you realize my potential is in something else. My potential is on working or starting my own business. So don't be afraid to do that, because probably you're thinking, oh, my family, my parents educated me. If I tell them that I want to do something else, I'm gonna let them down. So just having an open mindset to learn is the key, and something I would encourage to people who are still young. We're also still young here. We are learning. Is really crucial. Yeah, just having an open mindset to learn. Don't just think on one thing. Be ready to experiment and know yourself, know your passion, know what you love. Enjoy life in abundance. Yeah, that's what I can share for now on mindset.
Thank you, Melissa. No, for me, that story that I told you about when I was in school, that really changed the way I saw myself, because before that I didn't really think much of myself. But after I was given that confidence that I had the potential of doing things, I started working when I was 14. And every time, one thing that my parents always told me, whenever you do something, make sure that you do it right, or don't do it at all. Like, because they always said everything you do is going to speak about you. The people are going to see you through the work that you do. So I always had pride in everything that I did, because I knew that people were going to see, that I was either doing a great job or I was not doing good at all. So every job that I had, I started always from the lowest position, but I always knew that I could grow to a higher position. So that was my focus all the time. Like, whenever I went to work, even though I started at the very low, I knew that if I focused and worked, I already had it in my mind that I could do more. So that's my mindset, you know. But I always had my mindset set on working for somebody else and impressing people with the things that I could do, you know. But I never thought that I could own a business, and I didn't want to own a business. Honestly, I didn't want to have that responsibility, and I didn't want to have that life of being, you know, tied to a place, because that's what a business was for me. You know, being there all the time, and not having the time to go out and live life. You know, so I didn't want that, but I always knew that I could do more if I set my mind on that. And at least, you know, my mindset was some way working okay, but I didn't know that I could expand my mindset. That's the problem. I didn't know that I could go outside the box and do more, you know, and see all these things in life that I can see now, you know, and all the things that I have to learn still. So um, you can always learn, you know, all these skills and expand your mindset to all the possibilities out there. So yes.
Thank you. We have some comments here. So we have a comment from Ovia Winnie Ogugwa. She say, "Great topic. Thank you, Ovia, for your
Thank
comment and
you.
for watching us."
Thank you, Winnie.
And then we have the comment from Jessie. She say, "Really good advice." Um,
Thank you, Jesse.
Hi, Yesi.
Jessie, thank you for
We miss
watching.
you.
Um, so the next point is be more self-confident. Yeah, and I think when it comes to be more self-confident, like I said, like for me, for example, and I think maybe for some of you, um, it's the way we are programmed when we are growing as a kid. The way that, like Isabel was saying, we were told what to do. So we didn't really build that independence
Mhm.
Mhm.
that that we need. As you grow and you enter the adulthood. um so for me, my self-confidence, I didn't have self-confidence. I was very um i I would say, like in certain areas, as growing as a kid, I was not confident. um I think I started to be more confident once I arrived in Canada, and I started to be involved with more other kids, and with the other culture, because I went to a multicultural school, a school for kids, like immigrants that arrive in Canada, and you have to learn the language. So because I started from zero, learning the language, um, and being with different kids, like it helps me, like try to build that self confidence. But even then, I didn't build that self confidence until later on in life. I would
Mhm.
say probably until my mid 20s, probably around there, when I started to, facing and trying to do things that, before I wasn't doing it because, that's what I was told, that's the other, trying to follow that pattern that, they taught me to. So, experience, like, the life, as it should be, and so you can learn, but yeah, so self-confidence, it's good, again, like if you are a parent and you have little kids, let your kid be themselves. Don't try to make them do the way that you want them to do. Let find who they are, because that's how they're gonna become, more self-confident. um and don't, like, if they need to find out something, let them find out, by themselves, because that's how they become more independent, because you don't want them to be dependent of you, because when they are going to face the adulthood and they're going to be by themselves, they're going to be struggling, you
Mhm.
know um so for example, like one of my first independence, because I was very dependent with my sister, we always did stuff together. But when my sister moved out, and then she went to study on another college, and then I was by myself in the college, it was hard. it was hard because I was so used to be with her. So at first, I was a lonely person, in school, just eating by myself, But eventually, I started to learn how to be independent. It was a whole process. It wasn't easy. It didn't happen, right away. But then, I started to become more independent, and now, I'm very independent to be on my own. Um, but yeah, it was a process that I had to go through, and I think that's part of the learning things that you do as you go throughout your journey. But if you can start teaching your kid to be independent from the early stages, that's the best way, so they're prepared for the future.
Yeah, I agree with what you're saying, because uh, building that self confidence is not something you achieve one day, but I think for most of us, even as we are growing up, we are thinking it's something that we need to get it there and for once, we forget that it's a journey, and it's just starting small, starting small and building that momentum. So for me, I had that mentality that it's something I need to get it, But now I understand it's a journey, starting small and building that momentum of building self confidence. Yeah, even in small things, small things while you are at home. I don't know which example I can give on how you can practice on your self confidence. Even just looking at yourself in the mirror and being nice to yourself, and loving yourself, probably it can start from there, just looking at yourself in the mirror and telling yourself positive things that you can do whatever you want to do, or you can be wherever you want to be. Starting small and building that confidence. I think for me, it's been a journey, and I thank God up to where I am in right now. One thing I think I always smile about myself, and I've had people say, is that I'm brave. And I didn't know, like, I, I have struggled with building that self confidence. But one thing is, I think sometimes I do things, and people will be like, "What? You did that? You're so brave," And I'm like, so I've been thinking of that, like, how can you be people can say you're brave, but you're still you yourself. Sometimes people look at you outside and think that you've gotten it, but they really don't know the noises that are going inside you. So anyway, so it's a journey for anyone out there. Just understand it's not something that you get it one day. Just have it in your mind and practice that self-confidence from your home. You don't have to practice it from there outside. Start from where you are. Be nice to yourself. It starts by being nice to yourself and talking positive vibe to yourself. I think that's how I would put that on how you can build that self-confidence. Yeah.
Melissa just said something that really hit me. I think we didn't have a choice but to be brave, because
Oh, yes.
the way we grew up, it wasn't, because we were raised. First of all, we were not independent. We had no opinion. We had to do what our parents
Mhm.
told us. But at the same time, when we were without them, we had to be brave and really survive, with the other kids and the other people. And that's how I think we build confidence. But something you said also, that not too long ago, I've been listening a lot to professional speakers and people on self-development. And one of the things that they said, and I did, was see myself in the mirror and really ask myself, my younger self, for forgiveness for everything, every time I felt myself,
Mhm.
because you let other people, like, do or say things to you, and you're okay with it. You're like, that's fine, and you never stand up for yourself, or at least I didn't. And so, doing this practice of really looking yourself in the mirror and looking, really seeing yourself, and talking to the younger you, the child in you, and just asking them to forgive every time that you fell and you didn't stand up for yourself. And that was a huge thing for me, because I never thought about it. I was like, I'm fine, that's gone. It's too late now. But you can always go back and fix that. And self-confidence for me, like you said, it didn't start till later in life, not too long ago, when I was finally like, okay, this is who I am, and this is what I can accept and not accept. And these are the things that are valuable to me, and nobody's gonna like surpass that, because I have to do the things that are good for me and that are gonna add value or love or whatever to a relationship. I can't just accept all these things that are not good or that are not gonna really benefit me in any kind of way. So confidence is, I think, an ongoing thing, and you can always get better at it, but it's hard. It's hard when you are raised to be to do the things that you're told, to always say yes or no. But like, my parents always told me I didn't have a choice, just do as you're told. Do as you're
Yeah.
told. That's the thing I always heard. So it's hard when you come from that to later in life break that and really build your self-confidence in the things that are right and that you believe in and that you stand for.
Yeah. Okay, so the next point is try not to be perfect. And yeah, this I'm one of the kids that you were mentioning before, Melissa, about like they gotta, like, for example, didn't pass the test and it was devastated. Well, I was one of them.
Mm-hmm.
I remember I was in the elementary, and it wasn't a really bad mark actually. It was like 4.5 out of 5, 4.6 out of 5. But for me, I was like, I felt devastated and crying, but because my parents, my dad had a very high standard, so it was like 4.8 and above.
Mm-hmm.
um so but my like the teacher say, that's a good mark, you should be proud of yourself, that's not a bad mark. But this is what I'm saying, like, we we were programmed a certain way to be, this type of person. But the truth is, we're humans, we're not perfect, and yes, I understand that they wanted the best for us. But um just because like you don't I wasn't like, I know that he wanted me to have good marks, but sometimes we don't have good marks, so it's okay. That means, like, okay, maybe next time, like, work a little bit harder, and then you will get a better mark. But not in a way that, like, okay, that's a bad mark. But that's what I had in my mind, because that's he always wanted good marks for me. So for me, when I got that, it was like devastated. Um so yeah, I would say try not to be perfect, like, um it's we are humans, we know we have to learn from, um our setbacks. Like later on, like, I remember my first time that I got laid off. That was another one. you know it was devastated because, i I try to be perfect, like never. And for me, being laid off is like a huge failure, at the time. you know and that was another experience that I had on my life. And again, it's all in, like, it's something that we were programmed, but it's something that, it has to also do with the work on a mindset. Because, if I had a very good mindset, okay, yes, and I got laid off, but okay, what was the problem? Why was the reason why I got laid off? Then you need to work on those reasons.
Yeah.
uh, so, you learn from that mistake, and then you move forward, and then you work on that. um but yeah, like, I was young, early 20s. And, like, because I didn't have that foundation, in terms, of we were told what to do, we were trying to be, perfect and all that. I didn't have that um, foundation of facing these type of things in my life. um, and that's the other thing that I wanted to mention, to parents, like, don't try to protect your kids, all the time. Oh, like, and as a parent, you try to do that, but that's not really good, because um, you have to learn your kid also, to fall, for example, so they learn, and they learn, that's not the end. Okay, so stand up and continue, you know um, because that way you teach them, how to be strong, and how to face these challenges later in life. So it's not the end of the world if you fell down. Okay, no problem, just stand up and keep going. you know so try not to be perfect. It's one of the things I would say, to my younger self. Um, just enjoy your journey, and then keep going. If something didn't work as it was, there must be a reason. Find out what that reason is. If there is no reason, then there might be something better, that is waiting for you on the other side. So just keep going. So don't stay there, um, devastated, just and do, um, feel bad for yourself. Find the reason why, and move forward and learn from that.
Yes. Thank you, Sandy. I'm just trying to, my mind is going all over the place and thinking about my childhood, yeah, or rather my younger years in college life and so on. And a story came up when I remember when I was in high school, because I was out of the city, and doing exams and passing exam was a huge thing that, like, it was what was going to determine your life. Either you'll have a good life or a bad life, and we had a way, like when we do our exams, especially in our senior years, they will put the results out on a notice board, like everyone will see where you are. And I remember this particular time where one of the students was very good, and I think she just missed one mark to be on a certain level, and she was so devastated. And actually, if you're below, they put even a line there like, this one's failed. But this one was a very good student, and she only missed one mark. And the whole thing about trying to be perfect is coming in my mind, and even reflecting on myself, like, being perfect, that word does not exist. If you're a human being perfect doesn't exist at all. And it's all about your mindset. Yes, you see your setbacks, and now if you have the right mindset, then you will work on that. So if you really want to keep improving on yourself, it has to go along together with your mindset. Like, love yourself, always take care of yourself, and have a good positive vibe. Because I don't understand why that student was very devastated. Probably the pressure, probably, or the expectations the parents had for her, maybe, probably, to go to us to do a certain course that required her to have a certain, to have certain, grade, so that would enter campus and do this course. But just thinking of it, and now understanding, like, being perfect doesn't exist, and mindset is the key. See how you can improve yourself. See how you can become better on that area that you're working on. Because if you try to be perfect, it has also its own negative ways, is that you might dwell on that thing and not even progress. That's what happens to most people, that they are dwelling on one thing and they are not progressing, because they are stuck there, because they are trying to fix things instead of just progressing and having an open mindset, even to seek advice from other people, so that they can improve themselves. Yeah, so being perfect doesn't exist. It's just working on your mindset on how you can improve yourself. Yeah, that's my take on that.
Yeah, I think as parents, we always have expectation for our kids, and my parents always expected for us to be respectful and to do what they said and stuff. But they never really, they were not really checking our grades because they were always working and always busy. And the only thing that they always expected from us is like, I don't want your teacher calling me. I don't want problems at the school. But they never said anything about the grades, and I always tried to be accepted. Like, I don't know, for some reason, that was one thing I always wanted is to be accepted. So at school, I always had good grades. I'm very competitive when it comes to that kind of stuff. So I always want to be in the top. I don't like to be in the middle or the bottom. I wanted to be on the top. And my grades were really good. My teacher always tried to say, tell your parents, and they send letters and stuff, but they never checked and they never really said anything about my grades. But me as a parent now, I have high expectations for that. Like, my kids know that they cannot have low grades, and that's one thing I always did, for my oldest one, and for my younger one I still do it. Like, they have this expectation of bringing home good grades because that's their only job right now. They have nothing else to worry about. I'm like, your only job is school. Make sure you study, you do good, and they know what the consequences are. If they bring a low grade. So that I don't think I'm telling them to be perfect, but I want them to be responsible and know that there's consequences in life when you don't do things right. But I don't know. I don't think I'm perfect. I'm not perfect, but I always try to do my best. Do the best that you can, and really really try to do the best in anything that you do. Like, don't how do I say this? Don't do things just to say that you got them done, but they're like half done because they're not really neat, or they're not really, I don't know. But yeah, I understand. Nobody's perfect, but try to do the right thing and try to improve. At least try to improve every time, because we're especially when you're starting to do something, you're not going to be great at it. There's always room for improvement in everything that we do, but at least try to do the best that you have with the skills and the tools that you have. Do the best to your capability at the time, and later on in life you're going to know that you could have done it better, that you could have done this, but at the time that's the best that you could do, so that's what you did. But that's all you can do. We're not perfect in any way, because I don't think nobody is. There's people that think that that they're perfect and that whatever they do is the best, but I don't think there's such thing. But I do think that we can always do the best that we can at the time with what we have.
Yeah. We have arrived to the end of the the live. So yeah, so for those who um, just doing a little recap. So we talk a little bit of overcoming our fears, working on mindset, um, also be more self confident. Try not to be perfect. Actually, there was one more that I wanted to talk about. Like being um, overcome shyness.
We can do that. We can do it.
Yeah. So overcome shyness. So yeah, that was one for me.
Self
Like
confidence.
one of the things that I love to do is, like I love to dance. So but when I was in high school, and we went to, like the dance parties, I didn't. One of the reason I didn't dance is because in my mind, and again, it's mindset. In my mind, I was thinking and seeing, like all the people were watching me, and that's why, I didn't want to dance, because I didn't know. Like, I love to dance, but I'm not a very good dancer. But yeah, in my mind, was like, oh, people are watching me, what are they gonna think of me? um so that was one of my shyness. But what you have to do is just work on it. So later in life, I started to take dance lessons. So I joined the social dance community here, and then learning, and yes, I was not good at the beginning, but I started to, practicing, and become better. I stopped now, and I haven't done social dance for a while. But another, overcoming shyness, is once we joined this business, like, um I was very concerned of what people are gonna say, about what am I doing, but that's, like, once you start working on your mindset, you realize that, it doesn't matter what. And the thing is, like, sometimes maybe it's only us that think that, because people are really not uh seeing you, or or saying you, okay, what is she doing, in a bad way, or stuff like that. So we are the ones who sometimes create these things in our mind, um so just, yeah, work on your mindset, because sometimes it's not true what you think that, it's happening out there. For some people, sometimes it's true, and then, you have to overcome, and just block those people. But for some cases, it's all here, just an imagination, thinking, what other people are thinking. So yeah, that will be, one of the overcoming my shyness, is just work on it, and whatever, you have to work on for that you are shy about, and work on your mindset, because that's part of it too.
Uh, I will still relate this to self-confidence, building, becoming more self-confident. And I love to serve. I grew up serving in church. All the jobs that I've done, they've involved me being there on the forefront. People can see me. So I love what I do, but at the same time, I've always had these noises on my mind. Everyone is looking at me. Like, I hate all the attention on me. And I'm like, what's the problem with me? Like, now getting off these noises out of the mind. Like, I love what I do, but at the same time, I want there to be at the back. But it can be like that. If you're working in front, you're working in front, and everyone will see you. But I appreciate it, because with time I've had to do away with those noises. I call no intimidating noises, limiting beliefs and noises within my mind. Because if you are there in the forefront, you're there in the forefront, and people will see you. So just do what you're doing. And sometimes we think everyone is looking at you, but people are so busy with their lives. So it's just you who has the problem, not them. Yeah, so it's a work in progress, just overcoming that shyness, and of course, working here online. This is another platform. I'm also really enjoying and getting to understand, like, wow, okay, these are just limiting beliefs that I've had for so many years. But anyway, it's a journey. We are there, and I really appreciate working online and also connecting with you people, because this is also a way of working on my self confidence and working on my mindset as well. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it has a lot to do with what we said at the beginning, because like I said, I grew up very insecure. And so therefore I was very shy all the time. I was always thinking, the same thing, that people could see me, we grew up, I wouldn't say we were very poor in a way, because we were never hungry. Thank God we never were. But we didn't have like clothing. My mom used to make our dresses, or we used to, like, I have an older sister, so I used to, like, everything that she was outgrowing, that was what I was gonna wear. And I always felt like everybody was looking at me, because they knew that, I didn't have a good dress, I didn't have a good shoes or whatever. And so that really made me shy, and I was always trying to hide. I didn't want to be on the front for any reason. I didn't want to get anybody's attention. And that was challenging, when I started this business, because I was like, oh, I can't really speak in front of a camera. I'm not social, I'm not a social person. But when we went to the convention in Japan, Sandy and I went to the convention, and it's funny because I got up and I went down and I was talking to people and stuff, and then Sandy was like, "You know, you're not very shy. You can go out there and talk to people." And Sandy was sitting the whole time. She didn't get up at all. Like she first of all, because she wanted to record everything that was happening, but she didn't go and talk to other people. And I was talking, to other people. And I don't talk to everyone. I just have this connection. I have connection with people sometimes. I don't know, for some reason I can see somebody and I can feel the connection if there's a connection or if not. So I don't just go talk to somebody just to talk to somebody. But all our leaders, that we have in the business, the people that have been in the business for a long time, we all know who they are. And so if I saw them, I wasn't shy. I was like, hey, and I'm like, can we take a picture or whatever? So yeah, I think I'm doing a lot better now, and really this, we say it all the time, and people are gonna think that we're just making things up, but the training really does work. When you work on your mindset, when you surround yourself with other people and you have these connections, it really gets you out of that shell, and you really start, you know, I don't know, feeling different and more confident, and really you talk and do things that you were not doing before. So I'm really grateful for this business because I have it has changed my life so much, that in a way I didn't expect, because like I think as many of us, I came to this business just thinking or wanting to get financial things out of it. I never thought that it was gonna change the person who I am, and for the better, just building my confidence and making a better me. So um, I'm very thankful, and yes. I'm happy that I'm not the person inside the shell all the time, worry about everything. And now I'm feeling more confident, and I love the person that I'm becoming, honestly.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's true, like I think that's for everyone who started in this online business, when you see them, when they started and who they are today, like it's how they change, and how they're evolving as the years go through. I can even see, in some of my mentees, like some people, were not how to say, tech savvy, at the beginning, but now you see them, how they are so comfortable now doing all that stuff, and in different areas, we grow in this business, like mindset, in technology, learning new advertising, AI, Canva, all different areas, which is something amazing, how compact, the training is for us, that is available there, and it keeps updating all the time. So we also learn, about emotional intelligence, and and social skills, because being a global community, we have different cultures, and we have to learn, how to uh, treat, different culture, because every culture is different, you know and they have the like when we went to Japan, like we one of the things that we experienced, is how people are so polite and so helpful, um and the cleanness of the like they're very clean over there, like they don't throw stuff, on the ground, so you can see the difference, how they are. And and that's the beauty of having a global community, like learning from different cultures, learning how to approach them, um how these social skills is amazing to have. Yeah. So I think we have arrived to the end. So okay. So let's just give a reminder for our webinar. So if you want to catch the replay for our webinar that play on last Thursday, here are the host and the panelists for that day.
So for the host, we had Rebecca, who is a buyer, planner. We had Mai, who is a health admin assistant, Tina, who is a registered nurse, Alma, a registered nurse as well.
Okay, the rest of the panelists for last Thursday, Mayra, an OR nurse, 𝗲𝗏𝗀𝗃𝗀, a former public school teacher, Joyce, a full-time mom, and Jonathan, a registered nurse. So if you guys would like to receive the live webinar or just watch the replay, you can always register on one of our websites and you will receive the webinar so you can learn more about the business. And if you would like to catch the live sessions, we have them on Tuesdays and Thursdays, 5 p.m. PST, 8 p.m. EST.
Thank you, Isabel. Thank you, Melissa. Okay, so if you guys want to follow us on our pages, they're on the screen over here. So you can follow us and get to know us, a little bit more. And also through our posting, and also a little bit more about the business that we do. You will also have the website on the screen. So if you want to learn more about the business, you can register with your name and email address, and you will receive an invitation to our 90 minutes free webinar where you will learn more about the business plan that we offer, and also the testimonial of business owners in the community. And we also invite you to a private Facebook group where you will see success stories from members of our community and more information also about the business. And then and we want to thank all the viewers that watch us today, and also for those watching the replay. Let us know on the comments where you're watching from. And for all the viewers, thank you for all your comments. Thank you for all your emojis that you sent to us, and for watching. So we want to wish everyone. Or you wanted to explain to our viewers about what happened when they register on the website?
Sure. So when you register on our website, you will receive the webinar. That's what you're doing. That's the step. That's the whole reason you're registered, is to receive the webinar. You're not committing to the business. You're not being held to any of the other stuff, because when you register, it's just to receive the business plan for nothing else. So don't worry about you don't have to pay anything because it's free, and you're not committing to anything else. So it's just to receive the business plan.
Thank you, Isabel. Okay, so I think that's the end, and we wanna thank everyone again for watching today. And for those watching the replay. So until the next episode of the Global Digital Success Talk. So have a nice, happy Sunday,
And
everyone. Good day.
Enjoy
Bye,
your
everyone.
Sunday.